When I was a young girl, we had at least a bit of rain sometimes. But when I became a grown-up, the rain changed from what it was before, and it was coming rarely. It was unreliable rains, and now the rains are not enough.
Climate change is a global phenomenon that is occurring and affecting Africa as a whole, because you find that due to the climate change, there's a lot of caused by many factors like air pollution, and therefore you find that it's very difficult for communities to cope with the changing environment.
They are among some of the best writers. But at the same time, the majority of us are better in telling stories. And we tell it in a better way. It is true in India too. So we have people who can tell stories better than they write.
A number of organizations from Africa and India have come here to exchange ideas and experiences about the effects of climate change.
The rural communities whose livelihood is more or less dependent on the land, they said, okay, well, when I was a child, my area was forest area. There were streams, there were rivers, there were wild animals, and there was a good crop harvest, all these things. Gradually, forest areas are more or less cleared, wild animals have disappeared, water resources have dried up or decreased, agricultural production has decreased, the rainfall pattern is also disrupted in a way that one thing, it doesn't come in time, it also stops early.
We have the camels, the cattle, the sheep, you know, and the production capacity of these are different. When you are milking a camel, you have to bring with you a big vessel, compared, you know, when you are milking a goat. So now, because of the climate change and decrease in rainfall and fodder and everything, you know, the vessel, the nomads and the pastorers use it to milk the sheep are now being used to milk for the camels, as an indication of a decrease in milk production.
Kiuso is a new district in Kenya, found in eastern province of Kenya. The communities are mostly agro-pastoralists because they keep livestock and also grow quite some crops for their domestic use. However, you find that the area receives very minimal amount of rainfall, which also leads to droughts that really affect the communities.
This is arid land, where we are talking about people farmer here. There is very little rainfall, less than 500 millimeter per annum, if it has to rain. But there are times we go without rain. There are years we go without rain. The history of the farmers here, they have had problems in the past, in that they had no food. So because of that starvation,
mundo uyu twina guo yu unegi gala takele thuku pandu ila mwito anja jangweni kabisa lakini yu jangweni zundi kwa jano mene ondo ile yuko peno vandeliku nundu wa mitaru wa maimatu.
Farmers have learned on how to adopt to this type of climate, in that what they do is they do conservation agriculture.
Naambia nina miaka itatu naambia undu nina ima lakini ndina kunawe kwima nina ima kikamba tu ndina ima ngute ma mitao nina ima kikamba kila tu ima mana kwithia vai mitao nge mundo tu abamba ndio ba ukwithia tu ima mana kwithia mitao ndivo lakini yone na ukiobingwa uyu twambia usomethia ni mwalimu
This farm of mine, it was just a bare land like this one. But when I learned about that new technology and how to conserve my soil, I usually started preparing this one. It was just like this. And when you compare, you can see the difference. Here there is no grass, there is nothing beside it. It is a bare land.
Quite a number of farmers now are coping with the changes, because you find like for them to harvest any crop now, there's a lot of efforts to conserve the soil through construction of terraces and also doing water harvesting so that they are able to provide water for domestic use, water for their livestock, and also irrigate some crops on a small scale just to meet their domestic needs. However, they are not able to harvest a lot of water for crops, to plant crops for, let's say, for sale to other markets due to the limited capacities that they have.
This kitchen garden, it has been helping me, especially during dry season. I make sure that most of the time I have green vegetables. Now I have tried to put polythene paper at the ground, so that when I water, I may not use a lot of water, because even at this place, we normally get water at a far place. Let's say around 10 kilometers.
Okay, this is a center, QSO Information Center, whereby we have internet, at least which can help us to access information on weather forecast, which is very important for our farmers, especially on climatical change. In this center, we are also using a CD on HOISAT information, whereby the farmers at least access this information on pest control management. The herbs we are using for pest control are just like these ones. This is a neem plant, which at least does very well in dry areas, and it does not have effects on our crops. Per week, we get around 15 farmers who come to the center to source information, especially during the planting season and during the time of weeding.
You we ula wevo you ula we me mozeo you no yo ne na gwetuo we to kuona nondo we na mapuna malangona una baita ula tene ndwete baita nondo you yani ki ngavanda kendo kanini ka we miuto vana ndilia kona ngethai kuongela tome ne unajua tongoga ala batembe ndipe kendo ala.
How are they adapting, to mitigate the problems of climate change? We also like to discuss a little bit about a common understanding of what are we really talking about climate change, and its impact on livelihood, and maybe the impact of livelihood vice versa on climate change.
In fact, it's not easy to tell that such type of workshops will contribute a solution for the future, but they will raise the awareness. This is a sort of training of trainers. So we people who have got some knowledge in this place will go back and tell to our colleagues about what the issue is like.
They can do something locally, but they cannot do what's happening globally, you know, because, you know, most of the, greenhouse gases are produced by the Western nations, and most of the victims who are suffering are these poor people are suffering.
If the trends keep continuing in the long term, then you find that even some of the technologies that the farmers are trying might not work. You look at the dry areas in this country, find some of the areas don't receive even rainfall at all. And at the end of the day, if there's no rainfall, that means their livestock is not surviving, and increased poverty. The only way forward is to have that a global approach where everybody is concerned in trying to minimize the climate change.
Juju.